this is the time for discussing about your IELTS speaking test as well as the course. So today I'm not going to consume a lot more time for explaining about the course. I'm just consuming this time for giving you something. In the very first time, I should say that in this class I'm conducting in English, because if we require to learn speak in English, we cannot use Sinhala within our class. If there is someone who cannot understand English, then it's fine, I can explain in Sinhala, but most of the time I'm trying to conduct the sessions in English. It will be really helpful for you to gain your fluency by listening to my voice as well as interacting in English with me. So as this is the very first day, as I don't know some of your level of speaking English, just let me know if there's anyone who cannot understand which I'm telling in English. මම ඒ ටික විතරක් සිංහලෙන් කියන්නම්. මම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ක්ලාස් එක කරන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින්. ක්ලාස් එකේ බැච් එකේ කවුරු හරි ළමෙක් හිටියොත් ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කියන දේ තේරුම් ගන්න බැරි කෙනෙක්, එතකොට විතරක් මම සිංහලෙන් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ක්ලාස් එක ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කරන්නේ. මොකද ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ලංකාවේ IELTS ක්ලාසස් වල තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි සිංහලෙන් තමයි උගන්වන්නේ. එතකොට සිංහලෙන් ඉගෙනගෙන ඔයාලට රයිටින් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්, ග්‍රැමර් පාර්ට් එක ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි කවදාවත් සිංහලෙන් ඉගෙනගෙන ඔයාලගේ ෆ්ලුවෙන්සි එක හදා ගන්නවත් ස්පීකින් පාර්ට් එකට ෆේස් කරන්න දෙයක් කරගන්න බෑ. එතකොට මේක ස්පීකින් ක්ලාස් එක නිසා මේකේ මම හැම වෙලෙම ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් තමයි ඔයාලට උගන්වන්නේ සහ ඔයාලව ඉංග්‍රීසි එන්වයරන්මන්ට් එකක් ඇතුලේ තියාගෙන උගන්වන්න තමයි try කරන්නේ. අද මේ පළවෙනි ඉන්ට්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක හින්දා මෙතන කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කියන එක තේරෙන්නේ නැති කෙනෙක් ඉන්නොනේ chat box එකේ message එකක් දාන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් මට mic convert කරලා කියන්න. එතකොට අද කියන ටික මම සිංහලෙන් කියලා දෙන්න. කිසි issue එකක් නැහැ. badge එකේ ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් තේරෙන්නේ නැති කෙනෙක් හිටියොත් මම සිංහලෙන් explain කරනවා. එහෙම කෙනෙක් හිටියේ නැත්නම් විතරක් ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින්ම කන්ටිනියු කරනවා. හරි. මම මෙතන ඉඳන් අද එකත් ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කන්ටිනියු කරන්න කැමතියි. මොකද මම බිලීව් කරනවා හැමෝටම තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කියන දේ. කිසි ඉෂුව එකක් නැහැ. තේරෙන්නේ නැති කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් කියන්න. එතකොට අනිත් එක තමයි මම සිංහලෙන් කියද්දි මේකත් කියන්නම්. අද දැන් පළවෙනි දවසනේ. එතකොට මම අද පැය දෙකම කන්සියුම් කරන්නේ නැහැ ඔයාලගේ ටයිම් එකෙන්. හරි ඉක්මනට මේ ඉන්ට්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක ඉවර කරනවා. එතකොට මෙතන කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවා නම් තමන්ගේ දැනට තියෙන බෑන්ඩ් ස්කෝර් එක මෙෂර් කරගන්න කැමති කෙනෙක්. අද දැන් ෆ්‍රී ඩේ එකනේ. එතකොට ඔයාට කාට හරි එක්කෙනෙක්ට, හැමෝටම දෙන්න බෑ, කාට හරි එක්කෙනෙක්ට බට මොක් ටෙස්ට් එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් ඩිමොන්ස්ට්‍රේෂන් එකක් විදියට අනිත් අයට. එතකොට අපේ ක්ලාස් එකේ කොහොමද මොක් ටෙස්ට් කරන්නේ, ඒවා එවලුවේට් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා අනිත් අයට අයිඩියා එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒක කරන්න වොලන්ටියර් ඔයාලා කවුරු හරි ඉන්න ඕනි. කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් කැමති නම් තමන්ගේ දැනට තියෙන බෑන්ඩ් ස්කෝර් එක දැනගන්න සහ දැනට ඔයාගේ ස්පීකින් ලෙවල් එකේ තියෙන අඩුපාඩු ඉම්ප්‍රූව් කරගන්න මොනවද කරන්න ඕනි කියලා දැනගන්න කැමති කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් chat box එකේ message එකක් දාන්න. ඊට පස්සේ මම ඒ chance එක දෙන්නම් මේ session එක යන අතරතුර. එතකොට session එකට disturb වෙන හින්දා හැමෝම mic එක mute කරලා තියාගන්න. කාට හරි කෙනෙක් issue එකක් තියෙනවා නම් මම කතා කරන අතර chat box එකට message එකක් දාන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් mic එක unmute කරලා අහන්න. කොහොමත් session එක ඉවර වෙද්දී අන්තිමට ඔයාලට කතා කරන්න chance එකක් දෙනවා. මේක දිගටම අහන් ඉඳිද්දි ඔයාලට මේ ක්ලාස් එකට වඩා IELTS ස්පීකින් ටෙස්ට් එකේ නොදන්න දේවල් ගොඩක් දැනගන්න හම්බෙයි කියලා හිතනවා. මෙතන සමහරලාට ඉන්න පුළුවන් එක්සෑම් එක කලින් ගත්තු අය, අලුත්ම ඉන්න පුළුවන්, හැමෝටම වැදගත් වෙන දේවල් මෙතන තියෙවි. Okay, then let's start. First thing is first. So what will you learn within this today's class? This is not about our entire this course. This is about today's session. So by waiting till the end of today's session, you can learn about IELTS speaking exam as well as why it's hard for most of us, because they have one common myth about IELTS speaking test. Most of the time it's really hard. That's how some students are saying about IELTS speaking test. When it's coming to part 2 cue card section, they are saying it's the most difficult part. So why we are thinking like that, and as they are saying, is it really hard? So we will discuss about that. Thirdly, have you failed before? Then stay in the session. So if you are a person who already faced the exam before, and if you couldn't take your required band score, then you will be able to understand the mistakes you have done, as well as you will understand what kind of things is there to improve it in your next attempt of your speaking test. So stay tuned. Fourthly, how to prepare for the exam. This is important for everyone. So I will give some basic fundamental tips which you can apply for be prepared with your IELTS speaking test. Then again, how to know your current band score and improve. I will teach you how to do self studies as well as how to do self evaluations. If you don't have anyone else for practice with, say suppose you are not participate into any other class, okay, and if you don't have any friend or someone who can speak in English with you, then you don't have choices. You have to either participate into one class or maybe having one friend or someone, maybe family member, who can assist you with your speaking level. So if you don't have someone like that, how to do self-study? Because after today's this introduction, all of you are not will not be joining this class. Some of you will join, some of you will think about self-studies as well as. So if you are a person who do self-studies, even though joining the class, you have to do self-study within your spare time, then how to evaluate your current level with yourself without any other external support? So I will teach you that. And how to understand your current band score. You can easily understand that. I will teach you that one as well within today this session. Then again, exam tips for a higher band score. I will give as much as possible tips which you can apply within your speaking test. It will be really beneficial for you to boost up your band score and what you will get from this course. At the very end, I will discuss about the course. So if you feels like whichever I am telling in the very first slide about IELTS speaking test, if it is interesting, you can stay till the very last session, I mean the very last page, then you can get to know about the course, its schedule and everything. Otherwise it's your choice, but I really like to have you within this today's session, and I thoroughly believe that definitely you will learn something from this session. So it's open for everyone. If you have some friend or anyone, you can share the link, because this is the pre-session. They can also understand something about speaking test, because in Sri Lanka they have so many classes for IELTS exam. Maybe you have already participated into lot of classes earlier as well, and you may get lot of advertisements about IELTS class, just like which got from my one. So, but the problem is there is no any other class dedicated for speaking component. They have classes which teaching all four components together. As an outcome of that, most of the time those classes missing the speaking part. That is not a problem of the teachers of maybe the classes, because as they are trying to cover all four sections, they don't have enough time for consume for your speaking component. And as well as they are trying to teach some grammar components, writing, reading, listening, then sometimes most of the time they are teaching in Sinhala. So how you will improve your speaking? It will not proactive. That's why I have decided and I have made this syllabus, this course, just for speaking component. Then if you have any difficulties with your fluency and you are speaking English, mostly when it is coming to IELTS exam, then this might be the place which you can learn as well as practice for gaining your higher band score. Let's discuss. Okay. First thing is, who should enroll in this course? There have some categories. When it's coming to IELTS students, we can find out some categories. Definitely all of you will be in one of this category. Okay, we'll see. First one is, are you a beginner in English speaking or for the IELTS exam? That's fine. So you might be beginner for speaking English. Say suppose you are in a very beginner level of speaking English, or maybe you might be fluent enough, but still you are beginner for IELTS exam. You never have faced to exam, or maybe you never have check on IELTS exam and its components as well as its requirement. You might be very new person for the exam. Then still this course will be really beneficial for you. Second one is, wait, I will mark the unmuted one just to clear understanding of others. If you have any question, just raise your hand. Okay. Second one, have you faced the exam before and failed? There have a bunch of students like this. They have faced the exam before, maybe without proper practice as well as proper guidance, then they couldn't able to get their required band score. As an example, if it is a nurse, they have to get band score 7 at any cost, so they may not be able to got their band score in their previous attempts, maybe some several attempts. I have seen some students, they have faced the exam more than 2 or 3 times, and they have demotivated themselves just because of continuously they are failing to get correct band score, maybe required band score for speaking component, but they have got their required band score for reading, writing as well as listening. Mostly for listening, you can gain your maximum band score, even band score 9 with just self studies. That much of is that components. So the third category is, are you fluent enough? That's plus for you. So you might be very fluent in speaking English, right? You may have in a kind of English speaking environment, maybe within your family, maybe within your job role, you may speak in English daily basis. But still, if you are not familiar with IELTS components, IELTS structure, then you may learn something. You have to learn something, but for you, definitely this will be really easy task. But still, be fluent as well as if you can speak in English very well, that's not good enough for face to your speaking exam, IELTS exam. You have to know the type of questions will come in your IELTS exam as well as the patterns of those questions and the way you should deliver your answers in front of the examiner. Then this will be easy task for you, but still you have to learn something. And the fourth one, have you already booked your exam? These are the terrifying one, right? If you have booked your exam and your exam day is coming very closely, say suppose you have only 1 month or maybe a few weeks, then you may be in a very stressful mind setup because of you are still struggling to gain your required band score for your speaking component, but still as you book your exam, it's really hard. So for you also, this course will be really important. Okay, before going forward, one more thing is there. If you are a person who already booked your exam and it's really close, say suppose 1 week or maybe 2 week, individual classes option also there, but individual classes are not possible for everyone. Very limited time slots are there. If you are a person only having very limited time, then you can ask for individual classes. Otherwise, it might be really, it's good for me when comparing the cost, but still I really don't like you to consume your money as well as your time for individual classes, not with me, maybe with any other examiner also, any other teacher also, because you can gain your maximum fluency, maximum knowledge by participate into group classes because you are interacting with other students and it's really motivated. It's happening in the classes as an example in group classes, in my classes, apart from these class schedules, they are practicing themselves whenever they have free times, they're practicing. If I in an individual class, then you don't have that kind of options. So I strongly suggest you to be in a group class like this instead of individual classes, unless if you don't have good enough of time for face to exam. Okay. I will mute again you. Okay, let's go forward. This is the text structure. If you are a person who already faced your exam before, then definitely these things are not much important for you, but still this is for beginners for IELTS exam. They have main three components: part 1, part 2, part 3. In other words, we can say part 1, introduction and interview. In part 2, individual long term. In part 3, two-way discussion. In part 2, maybe you may call this as cue card section, right? This is the known part. They have three parts, but apart from these three parts, they have one more component that is not belonging to IELTS exam. That's not evaluated for your band score, but still they have pre-questions before to part 1. Whenever you are sitting in front of the examiner, examiner will introduce him or herself and asking your full name, asking to show your passport, and asking where are you from, kind of very general questions. Those are very general as well as questions we should always expected. Why I am saying those questions are important, even those are not evaluated for your band score. Examiner also one human, right? So if we can impress the examiner within our exam, then easily we can gain some higher band score. That is something psychological. So if you are giving some good answers for these three questions, when an examiner asking to show your passport, instead of saying yes, here it is. If you are saying, please take a look of my passport which I use for registration for this IELTS exam, something like that, then exam will definitely have some good mind setup about your level of speaking. With that good mind setup, exam will enter to the part 1. So that is a plus point for you when considering psychological factor of examiner. So those things we will discuss within our class. Mainly these three parts is the thing we have to deal with our speaking test. Most of the time students are saying part 1 is really easy. Yes, that's true, because in part 1 they are asking very general questions which is related with our daily basis life, and they have 4 to 5 minutes for completing all of the questions, and they may have 5 to 8 questions generally. in part one. It depends with your speed of giving answers as well as length of your answers, as well as it's dependent the examiner. Always they have right authority for giving number of questions, and they are the one who managing your time. In part one also, they have some patterns to understand for delivering answer. As an example, if examiner asking from you one general question like, do you like ice cream? One easy question, it's available within current version of, I mean, current exam. So if you are giving an answer like, yes, I like, it's really simple. Even a child can give that answer. In IELTS exam, they are not expecting that kind of childish answers. Instead of saying, yes, I like, they're expecting something more, right? So you have to give kind of rounded up answers in part one as well. In part two, Q card, we will discuss later on. In part three also, we will discuss later on. In that case, I'm just fast forwarding into next slide. This is the real deal. If is there anyone who already have seen this one? If you are a person who always interacting with my pre-sessions, definitely you know. Apart from that, if it is a new member for this class, have you seen this one before? You can maybe type on our chat box. I say hi now, then you can see the chat box. Yes, you can reply in there. Anything you can ask in there. This is called IELTS speaking band descriptor. And this is the backbone of your speaking test. If you are not even seeing this one, you are not ready to face your exam. I'm saying, right? So why I'm saying that, in this particular sheet, they have clearly mentioned the minimum requirement for gaining our certain band scores. I have read of the band score below 5, including 5, because we are not even talk about band score 5, 4, 3, like kind of band score. All of our requirement is higher than band score 6. For nurses, usually they require to have band score 7. For study papers, high studies, they have requirements from 6, maybe 5.5 to above. For caregiver also, they have requirements around 6 for most of the time. In that case, I have included band score above 6, including 6. Here you can see, if you are a new person, in IELTS exam, they are evaluating our speaking level under 4 main marking criteria. On the top of this sheet, you can see, first thing is fluency and coherence. Second thing is lexical resources. Thirdly, grammatical range and accuracy. Then again, pronunciation. So these are the 4 marking criteria which they are evaluating our speaking level. It doesn't matter part 1, part 2, part 3. They are taking it as a whole, and they are giving one particular mark under these 4 marking criteria. So if you are performing well for all these 3 components, and if you are really considering about these 4 marking criteria, then we can gain really higher band score for your speaking level. I'm not going to explain each and everything in here as we don't have much time today, but I would like to explain some things under band score 7, as it is the main as well as common band score for migrating as one registered nurse. Because I believe most of the time they have nurses in IELTS classes. In my classes, 99% of students are nurses. Apart from that, for higher studies, maybe for caregiver, very less people are there, but most of them it will be nurses. So I believe in here also they should have nurses moreover students, high studies students. So I will take band score 7 as the common band score here, and I will explain little bit about the requirements. So you can see, I believe, sorry about tiny letters, but still I think it's readable in your screen. First thing is fluency and coherence. Under fluency and coherence, you can see band score 7. In front of that, they have mentioned 3 things. First thing is speak at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. So now the problem is, or maybe the question is, what's called by noticeable effort or maybe loss of coherence? Without knowing that, how to rectify those issues? That's why we have to learn about the requirements here. I will simply tell loss of coherence or maybe noticeable effort. Simply noticeable effort means, say suppose I am speaking with you right now. If I speak like this, it's mean noticeable effort. It means actually effort. Likewise, so I am using so many sound, as well as I have stretching words, means I'm dragging words just because of lack of fluency. So those are the effort I am putting for try to explain which I required to explain to you. So that kind of effort are not tolerate under band score 7. We have to be fluent enough for gaining band score 7. And loss of coherence. Otherwise, because you can see fluency and coherence, two things under there, not only fluency. Coherence simply means the arrangement of your answers. You have to arrange your answers properly. If your answer is not clearly understandable just because of lack of arrangement, then definitely examiner will reduce marks under fluency and coherence, even though it doesn't matter how fluent you are. That's why I told you at the very beginning, it doesn't matter even though you are fluent enough, you have to be familiar with IELTS type of requirements. So fluency and coherence coming under one marking criteria, you have to be fluent as well as coherent. That's the first thing. Secondly, may demonstrate language related hesitation at times or some repetition and or some self-corrections. So all of these are happening just because of lack of practice, lack of fluency. Language related hesitations. Is there anyone who know about language related hesitation? Have you learned from any other classes even? Okay, fine. I will explain. In English, not actually in English, even in any language, we can see two type of hesitation. If it is not the native language of us, whenever we are trying to speak, sometimes we are forcing just because of we need to think what kind of things we should explain. That is something normal. Even native speakers are doing that. Say suppose Barack Obama calling the nation. Within that speech also, Barack Obama paused some time to think what to say, what kind of things should I say, and what kind of things I should not say. For doing that, there have pauses in between of sentences. That's called content related hesitation. Content related hesitation means we are little bit pausing, we are little bit um, keeping pauses in between for think about what to say. Arranging content, it's totally fine. In IELTS exam also we are discussing about content related hesitation up to band score 8 and 9. So in band score 7 we are not even talking about content related hesitation, we are talking about language related hesitation. Language related hesitation simply means apart from that occasion, apart from pausing just to think what to say, all other type of hesitation. Say suppose pillar sound like sound, right? Apart from that, putting lot of effort or maybe repetition. Like if I'm trying to explain with repetition, like I'm going to say I'm like us. I cannot even imitate that one. Sometimes you have this kind of problems just because of lack of fluency. And sometimes they may have self-correction. Self-correction simply means you are correcting yourself instantly just because of you instantly understand that there have some grammar mistakes, there have mispronunciation. Those things are happening. Even for me, those things are happening while I'm speaking. So I'm correcting. So if we have a lot of self-corrections, repetitions, as well as language-related hesitations, definitely we will lose marks under fluency and coherence. So we have to practice for rid of these issues. Thirdly, they have uses a range of connectives and discourse markers with some flexibility. So these connectives, discourse markers we are using for just connecting our ideas, sentences, everything together as one speech. It's coming under coherence. If we require to give coherent answer, we have to be fluent enough for connecting our ideas together as one answer. That's why these requirements under there. So you have to understand clearly under fluency and coherence. Mainly they have minimum requirements, maybe 3 requirements. At least if you can fulfill these requirements up to this level, then you can gain band score 7. So now you can have some self-evaluation. Are you in this level? If not, it's time for you to start for arranging or maybe aligning your speaking level up to this level. Okay. Under band score 6, actually, they have the same requirements, but they are expecting little bit lower, not strict like band score 6. When it is band score 7, when it's come to band score 8 and 9, they are requiring the same requirement, but it's really little bit strict than certain below band score. That's the way they have categorize the requirements under fluency and coherence. When it comes to lexical resources, I will quickly explain. They have again 3 things. First thing is uses vocabulary resources, flexibility to discuss a variety of topics. It means you should have really good vocabularies for explaining whichever you require to explain. You should not pause just because of lack of vocabulary. Now the problem is I can easily tell that you should have required vocabularies. Now you may ask a question from me, how to gain vocabularies for speaking English when it is coming to IELTS exam. For doing that, actually we have to understand the patterns of IELTS type of questions. They have a lot of questions. Yes, when it is coming to part one, you can find out more than 300 questions in current version of exam. When it is coming to Q card, there may have more than 90 questions. When it is coming to part three, I even cannot count. There may have variety of questions in part three. But the thing is, we have to understand patterns behind these questions. All of these questions we can categorize. By categorizing, we can find out common vocabularies for explaining whichever topic, whichever question you are getting. That's the secret. So if you participate into our class, categorizing these questions will be the very first thing. If you are thinking about self-studies or going into another classes, even though you have to categorize these questions in order to gain your required vocabulary. Say suppose you are trying to learn all of the vocabularies in English. It's not possible, right? They have uncountable number of nouns, pronouns, verbs, kind of thing. So it's not possible. We just need to learn whichever required to perform in our IELTS exam. Other things we can do afterward migration, right? So for now, focus on the vocabularies which required for explaining topics or maybe the questions in IELTS exam. For doing that, you have to have kind of self-research. If you are self-studying, if you are participating into class, I will give the materials which required for you. Then again, next requirement is uses some less common and idiomatic vocabulary and shows some awareness of style and collocation with some inappropriate choices. Oh my God, it's kind of lengthy sentence, right? You have to understand what everything. I'm not going to explain everything. Say suppose idiomatic vocabulary. One example. They are expecting us to have idiomatic vocabulary. If I'm asking one question from you, what's called by idiomatic vocabulary? Definitely you will tell me maybe it's called idioms. Right? සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් එහෙම රූපක. එහෙම තමයි ඔයාලා කියන්නේ. But actually idiomatic vocabulary just not mean idioms. It's including idioms. Even the collocations are kind of idiomatic vocabulary. So you have to learn such kind of vocabularies for gaining higher marks in IELTS exams. In some classes, some teachers are saying don't use idiomatic vocabularies or high level of vocabularies, then definitely you will lose your mark. They are saying that yes, they have one thing to learn. We cannot overuse these high level of vocabularies or maybe collocations or maybe high level of idiomatic vocabulary, whichever it is, we cannot overuse. If you are overusing, it's not coming as one natural answer. Then we will lose some marks. So we have to be careful whenever you are applying these vocabularies into our speeches. That's how we have to do, as well as that why we have to practice. Okay. Thirdly, uses paraphrase effectively. Paraphrase is required whenever you are explaining the question as your answer. As an example, if you are getting one question like, say suppose, do you like to eat rice and curry? Okay, there is no any question like that. I'm giving an example. So if you are starting your answer like, yes, I really like to eat rice and curry, that's called you are repeating the question as your answer. Instead of using the same word from the question, you have to use some another set of another set of vocabularies for explaining same thing. That's called paraphrasing. Okay, we will learn it in our class. When it comes to grammatical range and accuracy, third thing under band score 7 is still I'm talking, uses a range of complex structures with some flexibility. So they have complex structures. It's actually name complex, but actually it's not complex. It's really simple to learn. Okay, such like subordinating conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions, those are the type of complex structures. They have few more, but easily we can apply within our answers whenever we are speaking. Frequently produce error-free sentences through some grammatical mistakes persist. Still, some level of grammatical mistakes are acceptable for gaining band score 7, but we should avoid as much as possible. If we are repeating same grammar mistakes, when it comes to grammar mistakes in Sri Lanka, actually, most of the students are having some common mistakes like tenses issues. They are speaking present tense, simply they are putting some tenses in past tense. Whenever they speak in past tense, we are jumping to present tense. Those are the main issues. Or maybe wrong application of prepositions, wrong application of pronouns. Those are very common issues which I can see within Sri Lankan students. We have to treat them very well if you have this kind of issues. And when it comes to pronunciation, shows all of the positive features of band score 6 and some but not all of the positive features of bands 8. Easily, if you are referring band score 6 and 8, you can find out they have clearly mentioned if you are pronounce words properly, if you are not mispronouncing words, as well as the word which you are pronouncing is clear to understand, that's really enough. But apart from that, they have something called pronunciation features, which I'm talking in our classes. If you are mastering pronunciation features, you can really gain higher marks under pronunciation. But for doing that, it's required some time. That's why I'm asking for you to start today itself for your speaking section. If you are thinking about to wait until your last month for start your speaking practice, that will not happen, because for gaining your fluency, it's required time to learn grammar, or maybe practice on your writing tasks, tasks 1, tasks 2, or maybe your listening tasks, or maybe your reading tasks. You can do it with a kind of less time. Quickly you can grab all the things, but for speaking, honestly, you require some time. So if you are a person even planning to face your exam within few months later, still this is the ideal time for you to practice, start your practice. හරි, මෙතනින් එහාට යන්න කලින් මම දිගටම කියවගෙන ගියා ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින්. තේරුම් නැති කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවද? මම චුට්ටක් සමරයිස් කරන්න සිංහලෙන් තේරුම් නැති කෙනෙක් ඉන්නව නම් විතරක්. නැත්නම් මම මෙතනින් එහාට යනවා. තාම මම මේ ක්ලාස් එක ගැන නෙමෙයි කතා කරන්නේ. ඔයාලට එක්සෑම් එකේ ස්පීකින් ටෙස්ට් එකේ දැනගන්න ඕන දේවල් කතා කරන්නේ. Okay. Here actually in this slide also I have mentioned at the very below corner what is the main quality of your speech should have. Okay, I already explained about band descriptor and all of the requirements, but top of all of this, what is the main quality that examiners are expecting from our speech? Is there anyone who can tell me that? If there is a person who already faced to the exam, you may have some idea. Anyone? Okay, no issue. Let's go with next slide. You can learn that one as well. This is the main requirement. Your proficiency in real life communication situation. මම මේක සිංහලෙන් කියන්න තේරෙන්න ඕනේ හින්දා ඔයාට කොච්චරක් හොඳට real life communication එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ native speaker කෙනෙක් එක්ක කතා කරද්දී ඒ discussion එක කොච්චරක් naturally කොච්චරක් හොඳට කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? හරි? එතකොට දැන් කොච්චර IELTS exam එකට practice කරත් වැඩක් නැහැ. දැන් ওই තියෙන මේ speaking section එකේ තියෙන questions අරගෙන ඒවා ලියලිය ඒවට model answers හදා practice කරාට කවදාවත් ඒකෙන් ගොඩ යන්න බෑ. ඔයා practice කරන්න ඕනේ model answers base කරගෙන නෙමෙයි practice කරන්න ඕනි exam එකේ එන questions type ටික අඳුනගෙන මොන question එක ආවත් ඒ type එකට අදාළව natural answer එකක් දෙන්න තමයි practice කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැති වුණොත් එහෙම ඔයා කොච්චර හොඳට කතා කරන්න ගියත් මේ live ගතිය, ඔයාගේ speech එකේ තියෙන natural ගතිය, real life communication එක නැති වෙනවා. ඒක නැති වුණ හැටි examiner ලකුණු අඩු කරනවා. මොකද IELTS exam එක තියෙන්නේ ඔයාලා වෙන රටකට ගිහිල්ලා natives-ලත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන එක බලන්න. එතකොට එතනින් එහාට මේක අර formal exam එකක් නෙමෙයි. මේක semi formal, informal කියන්න පුළුවන් semi formal exam එකක්. එතකොට examinersලා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ඔයාලගෙන් natural speech එකක්. යන්න ඒකින්ද තමයි සමහර classes වල සර්ලා මැඩම්ලා ඔයාලට කියන්නේ idiomatic phrases apply කරන්න එපා, high level of vocabularies apply කරන්න එපා කියලා. හැබැයි ඒක වැරදි. apply කරන්න එපා කියලා නෙමෙයි කියන්න ඕනේ. apply කරද්දි ඒක naturally apply කරන්න කියලා. I will give an example. So you may get some questions like this. These are actually part 1 questions. What do you usually do with your friends? Then again one more question. What are you going to do in your next weekend? What do you think will make you feel happy in the future? Just take the first one. What do you usually do with your friends? So you can give one simple answer for this one, because this is part 1 and lengthy answers also not required. What do you usually do with your friends? So simply you can say maybe usually I am going out with my friends because I have some free time in the weekends. So my friends also have the same. So we are going out and always we would like to hang out, maybe go to some cinema, maybe having some dinner out. Those are the things usually we are doing. කොහොම කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඕකම ඔයා කිව්වොත් එහෙම actually my friends and myself are in the same wavelength. In that case, we always would like to crack the ball. Sometimes we are hanging out and we always would like to be over the moon and we are party poopers. ඔහොම කියන්න ගියොත් මම නිකන් idiomatic phrases දාගෙන යනවා. ඒක natural නැහැ. ඔන්න ඕක හින්දා තමයි සමහර ටීචර්ස්ලා කියන්නේ apply කරන්න එපා කියලා. හැබැයි මම කියන්නේ apply කරන්න naturally. ඔන්න ඔය naturally apply කරන්න තමයි අපේ class එකේ පුළුවන් තරම් practice කරන්නේ mock test කරන්නේ. mock test නොකර ඇත්තටම IELTS exam එකට ඔයාලා පළවෙනියට mock test එකක් නොකර face කරන්න ගියොත් එහෙම ඒක ටිකක් අමාරුයි. mock test එකේදී ඔයාලට ඒ exam එකේ තියෙන feeling එක ඒ emotion එක ඒ environment එක ඔළුවට එන හින්දා හරි ලේසි mock test කරන්න exam එකට ගිහිල්ලා හරි familiar exam එක. exam එක විතරයි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. ඒ environment එකේ place එක විතරයි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි අහන questions ටික, questions අහන විදිහ, questions අහන timing, ඊට පස්සේ ඔයා දෙන answers ඒ ඔක්කොම ටික mock test එකේදී ඔයා practice කරලා ඉවරයි. ඒක නිසා පුළුවන් තරම් mock test කරන්න ඕනේ. අර හතරම එකට කරන classes වල ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන්නේ ඒ classes වල mock test ගොඩක් කරන්න වෙලාවක් නැහැ. හේතුව writing ටික කරන්න ඕනේ, reading ටික කරන්න ඕනේ, listening ටික කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට මෙතන ඉන්න කවුරු හරි ළමෙක් මගෙන් අහුවොත් ඇයි speaking වලට විතරක් මේ class එක හදලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා අනිත් classes වල ඔය අවස්ථාව නැති හින්දා තමයි මේ class එකේ speaking වලට විතරක් ඒ chance එක දීලා speaking ටික ඔයාලට ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ ඔක්කොම හරියටම උගන්වන්නේ. එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අනිත් classes වල වෙලාව නැති ප්‍රශ්නෙත් එක්ක වෙන්න ඕනේ. එයාලට කරගන්න බැරි ටික මේ class එකේ practical ටිකයි ඔයාලා දැනගන්න ඕන දේවල් ඔක්කොම ටික speaking වලට cover කරලා ඔයාලගේ band score එක build up කරන එක තමයි කරන්නේ. Okay. Any questions? Fine. Now I think you can have some general idea. If you know the requirements of IELTS band descriptor, I mean speaking band descriptor, then you can have some self-evaluation about your current level. That's that much of simple. Just assuming band score 7, we already discussed. They have clear-cut requirements which require to have your speaking level up to that level. So if your requirement is not up to that level, it means you have to work on that. Simply that's all. Okay, next slide. Okay, if it is a person who already repeated exam, maybe one time, maybe more than one time, then you may be demotivated. All right, you may be definitely demotivated because you have consumed ample of money for your previous attempt as well as you have consumed your time. Maybe if it is a nurse, you may arrange your shift just to practice with your IELTS exam, but after all, you couldn't able to gain your required band score. Then don't be demotivated because always you have to be motivated for your next attempt. First thing is continued practice is a must. So if you are thinking about phase 2 IELTS exam, you have to find some time for practice speaking component. Not only speaking, writing also. You have to find some time for practice. There is no any excuse. You may say that yes, I am working on ship based and I have kids, so I don't have much time for practice in IELTS exam. It's really frustrating. That kind of things are commonly received from students, that kind of complaints, but those are not complaints. IELTS exam is there for you to migrate. So migration should be your ultimate target. In order to achieve that target, you have to find some time for practice. That's that much of simple. Practice means for speaking, you don't need to consume some specific time while you are in your hospital, while you are doing your work, okay, while you are doing some other works, while you are traveling to some places. You can at least think in English. You can listen to some speeches. That's called practice. Okay, so no excuses. Within this class you have to practice. It's okay, you will be busy with your job, you will be busy with your homework, it's fine, but within that work also I will teach you how to practice. So afterward you don't have excuse, you have to practice. Without practice actually you will not gain your fluency at end of the class. You will learn about IELTS exam, you will learn about tips, you will learn about how to face the exam, you will face a lot of mock tests, but if you are not practice apart from the class, then you will not be able to boost up your fluency much more. I can do maximum from my side, but you should have to have that commitment from your side as well. That's what the requirement of a speaking class. It's not like some grammar class. So that also have to understand. Secondly, be familiar with the exam requirements. So you have to understand the requirement. We already discussed earlier. Just go to IELTS IELTS.org website, or maybe British Council website, IDP website, or maybe some other websites also there. You can find out the full version of this band descriptor and read it out. After today's session, just find out and read it out. They have PDF version. Then you can at least understand the requirements of your speaking test. Thirdly, learn from listening to yourself. This is really, really important if you are doing self-studies. Even though if you are joining with my class, still you have to do self-studies. Like you have to practice. While practicing, always make it a habit to record yourself. You all have mobile phones, right? Just record your speeches. Whenever you have some free time, listen back to your speeches. By listening back to your speeches, you will gain self-evaluation ability, as well as you will understand the main problems of your answers. While you are speaking, you cannot understand. There may have grammar mistakes, some fluency issues. While speaking, you are focusing on the speeches you are doing, but you cannot focus on the mistakes. That's why you have to listen back. By listening back, definitely you will gain your fluency by understanding the main problems of you. Fourthly, mock tests are the real deal. So within our class, we will do a lot of mock tests. Without mock tests, actually, you cannot be familiar with the IELTS structure. So continuous mock tests are required. Within our class, usually I'm doing one thing. If I'm doing some theory type of session, theory means they don't have grammar classes. But if I'm, say, suppose I am teaching about cue card section, so I'm giving some lecture type of session. Even though I'm giving lecture type of session, in next day I'm not planning another lecture. Again, I'm planning one mock test. Continuous time to time mock tests are required to boost up your band score. And say suppose you are paying to my class and you are joining to the class, you may participate into several classes, maybe two classes. Then after, you're not participate just because of you're busy with your job, you're busy with some other works. Then say suppose you're not participate into three more classes. After three more class means after 6 days, then you are participate back. By participating back after 6 days, definitely you have decreased your fluency level. So participate continuously to the class is really required for keep up your level of fluency and gain your fluency. This is not something about the class, even though you are doing self studies, self practices, or maybe practice with some friends or wherever. Continuous practice is required until your exam. If you are not doing that, definitely you will decrease your band score, decrease your fluency. It's okay if you have some English speaking environment within your job role or wherever, then it will not happen. I'm saying this for a person who is not having English environment. Mostly for us Sri Lankans, we don't have that chance. Within our home, we are using Sinhala most of the time. Within our, if you are a government worker like a nurse or someone, then also in hospitals or some other government office, they are using Sinhala most of the time. Even though for documentation, they are not using sometimes English. Just for documentation, in some places, they are using English. So grammar part is only required for doing that job. Speaking is not required. That's the main problem of Sri Lankan students. Actually, I'm sorry for them. Some countries are there. They have the opportunity. Say suppose Philippines, Singapore. Their main native language might be something else, but still they are fluent in English because they are using English with their daily basis life. In Sri Lanka, we are the poor one. Okay, listen often. This is something you can do for gaining your speaking ability. Only two things you can do. First thing is writing as much as possible. I'm kidding. Some students are doing that. Whenever they are participate in the speaking classes also, they are try to write model answers. When I'm giving some kind of cue card answers, questions, they are trying to write down model answers. Whenever they are self-studying, they are taking one cue card, just like describe a beautiful city. Okay, that's the cue card. Instead of speak on that topic, instead of practice on that topic, they are just making model answers. They are writing. That's not work actually. By writing model answers or maybe writing for speaking, that's not work actually. You have to speak as much as possible. That's the real deal. Then the secondly, you can listen as much as possible. By listening, you can understand the correct pronunciation, the way native speakers are pronouncing words, as well as you can learn new words. So listening is really required, really good thing to happen, as well as speaking. If you are not in a place to speak, at least you can listen. Okay, no excuses, you can do that. And lastly, stay motivated. The main motivation is to think about your migration, your future career, or maybe your future goals of your migration afterward IELTS exam. So always be motivated. If you are not participate into classes, or if you are not continuously practice, then you will definitely demotivate. Even though if you are not participate, at least try to practice continuously for keeping your motivation, because if you practice, you can find out your improvement. By getting know your improvement, it's also one motivation. You will really like to improve more while you're improving, so that should be there. Try to continuously practice. Okay, that's one request from my side. Still I'm talking continuously, and I can see same number of attendance count. It means no one is leaving and no one even asking questions. If you have any questions, you can ask from me. What will you learn? Now I am talking about this course. What will you learn from the course? First thing is IELTS is speaking based on syllabus, which you cannot find out anywhere else in Sri Lanka, I believe. If you have found out any speaking based on class in Sri Lanka for IELTS exam, let me know even, because I really like to see that kind of improvement. There is no any other class just based on speaking. There have so many classes. You may have seen hundred of classes which teaching for components, all for components, but it's not proactive for speaking most of the time. So I believe this might be the only class which have prepared based on speaking. So the syllabus means actually they have some things to learn about speaking test, and the way you should be prepared for the speaking test, the way you should perform in speaking test. So kind of things are there to discuss. So this class have based on that kind of requirement. Secondly, as speaking patterns, exam tips and tools. They have patterns. I think I remember I mentioned earlier. If you learn these patterns, then easily you can give good answers for the type of questions. And they have tips which you can apply. Say suppose they have some moment which you cannot understand the question. Kind of problems may happen. You might be really fluent speaker, but still kind of question which randomly asking in your real exam, you may not be able to understand the question just because of one particular word in the question is not familiar to you. In that kind of moment, what kind of things you can do? For doing that, they have tips to learn. And tools means actually, say suppose you are not able to generate high level of answers. To do that, they have tools which you can help, and getting those help with the tools, applying tools to your answer, then you can easily generate high level of answers for the questions. So we will learn patterns, tips and tools all together within our class. Thirdly, continuous mock test and speaking practice. Actually, this is something I have to say. This is actually my earlier students. This is no since long time, and they are practicing. They have daily basis speaking practice in every weekdays. That is not belong to this paid class. That is one pre-service I am doing, and daily basis it is happening. In some occasions, I am not able to doing that just because of some other works, but it's still most of the days I'm conducting this pre-session, pre-practice at 4 o'clock. So you can participate into that pre-practice. But the thing is, I'm giving some high priority for students of my paid classes. I have to give that opportunity, as they have paid and they have came to my class just because of they are believing me. So I have to give some respect for that believing. In that case, there may have 20 number of students within one day, or maybe 30 number of students within one day for this pre-practice, but still I will give high priority for these students of my paid classes. It doesn't mean free students not getting any chance. They are also getting the chance. It is open for everyone. You also can join in that one. Apart from that, as I mentioned, we will conduct continuous mock test throughout the month to gain your fluency. Apart from that, actually, they have one more thing to mention. Afterward of the class, I am still helping them to have their self practices. As an example, say suppose 10 number of students are there within the class. Then after I finish 1 month course, still the WhatsApp group will be there continuously, and they are arranging their time schedule together, and whichever possible, they are come together and they are practice. And I'm also going there and help them out for. Okay, so that will be there. And fourthly, time management. Time management is really required. You may thinking time management is required for your writing tasks as well as reading tasks. Not only that, time management is required for speaking tasks as well. So if you are not managing your time mostly for your cue card question, then you will not be able to uh, show your maximum capacity. You will not be able to give one completed answer for your speaking section. I mean cue card section, because they have 2 minutes for generally 2 minutes for speak up and 1 minute for be prepare. Then if you are not preparing very well, definitely you will not be able to manage time. In order to manage time, we have to practice as much as possible for having some sense about the time we are consuming for giving some answers. So that also will happen by continuous mock test. Lastly, keywording and more. Keywording means actually that 1 minute of golden time. Some students are there whenever it's coming to mock test. When I'm saying that your 1 minute of preparation time is starting right now, they're just staying without doing anything. And when I'm asking your 1 minute time is over, now you have to start your speech on your cue card. Then they are trying to speech, and it's not possible sometimes, because then 1 minute have given by IELTS exam itself, just because of they know that we should have some time for be prepared with cue card topic. So if IELTS exam thinking that and they are giving that opportunity, why we are not taking? We have to use this 1 minute time for arranging our ideas by using keywords. So we have to gain our keywording ability as well. That also something we will discuss at the very beginning of our this 1 month course. So these are just something general. Apart from that, they have so many things to learn within the course, and you will learn by participate into the course. Okay, let's talk about the schedule. Before going forward with the schedule, actually, I will show you some one more thing. Um, if you are doing self studies, you have to use this Kiran Maka's speaking guesswork. This is the updated version, January to April 2024, final version. In my experience, there is no any question coming to the exam apart from the question mentioned in this book. If I'm mastering this book, it means you have covered all of the possible questions in your real exam. Up to April 2024, it means April of this year, this set of questions are valid. So if you are a person who is about to face the exam before April, including April, then you have to refer this book, and you will definitely gain something from the book, as well as you will get one familiar question within your real exam. That is one thing. Okay. By participate into class, first thing is this pre-group. Now they have more than 700 members. I will give you the access for this pre-group. Actually, it's something free. Even though if you are not participate into my paid classes, this 1 month course, still you can participate into this pre-group, because it's one free service. There is no any burden for joining there and participate into pre-services. I mean the pre-practice at 4 o'clock in every weekdays. Just let me know. I will share the link for this one. And apart from this, they have our Telegram group. This is actually something for paid students. They have some course materials, not for speaking tests. This is for all four components: writing, reading, listening, including speaking. They have more files. This is one earlier screenshots. So you can getting all of the speaking Maka guest book latest versions, as well as Cambridge books up to book 18, and some other references, lot of PDF versions of books they have. So you will get the access for this Telegram group, Telegram channel for downloading or maybe practice on the content in there. Apart from that, this is our YouTube channel. They have actually two YouTube channels. This is for this paid class um, recordings, and they have one YouTube channel for these pre-sessions. That YouTube channel for pre-sessions are open to everyone. Everyone can go there and watch the previous sessions, the recordings, videos which I have uploaded in there. In this one, actually this is not open to everyone. This is for group students, and you can have your recordings forever. Even though finish the course, you can just watch back the recordings which have in this class. Because in some classes I have seen, they have very limited time for you to refer the video clips or maybe the recordings. They are expiring because they are using their website for giving you the video clips, but I'm not doing that. I don't believe that, because these all of the sessions are customized for the students of that batch. I'll show you live the YouTube channel, then you can have some better idea. Okay, this is the playlist of the previous batch, January plus batch. You can see this is the day one, batch one, January 2024. I have started January 4th. Then, if going all along, they have bonus cue card, homework evaluation, random talks, kind of other components apart from the required session. I mean, this 1 month. Then they have up to day 15. So I have concluded the session, I mean the batch, by February 15, but I have started January 4th. You can understand. So I am conducting usually more than I am telling you. Usually I am conducting few more sessions than 1 month. Even though after finish the 1 month, I am conducting few more sessions like this. Even though this batch is still practice themselves. Tonight also they will practice. I also participate into that practice whenever possible. That's really good thing to happen. Until they are facing to the exam, they will continuously practice within the WhatsApp group, within the Zoom link which I have provided, and I also can assist. That kind of things are there. These finishing the 1 month means not finishing the learning from this class. That will be there continuously until you face to exam. As well as, say suppose you are facing to exam after 2 months of your this course. So you are enrolling in this month and you are facing to exam end of April or maybe starting of May. Then you can simply leave one message to me. I will definitely give you at least one mock test or maybe two mock tests. As much as possible I will help you, but at least one mock test I will give you before your exam. Usually I am conducting one mock test at the very exam day for students. Sometimes luckily they are getting the same question which I am giving them in their real exam. Recently also it's happened last week. I given one question regarding maps. The same question received in her exam with after few hours, because early in the morning at the exam day I conducted that mock test. Then after few hours she faced the exam. The same question received. That is something possible to happen, because as we are continuously conducting classes and we are engaging in the exam, we can understand the type of patterns which is coming in the exam. But there is no any secrets like I am getting exam questions from somewhere else. Not like that. This is based on the patterns of the exam. Okay, not like that. No any scams. Okay, this is about the course duration 1 month. 1 month means, as I mentioned, they may have extended days afterward the month 1 month, but I'm promising 1 month. Afterward they may have few more days as well. Time in and hours, actually until now I'm conducting this class at 8:30 to 10:30, but now I believe that it will be more proactive if I'm starting the class by 8 o'clock and we can finish by 10 o'clock. But usually when it is coming to the practical sessions, mock test, there may have more time required than 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30, maybe 10:45. It's usually happening because I cannot exactly tell you the time which I should consume for giving you mock test. So it's vary with the number of students will be there in the particular day session, as well as the time I am consuming for one particular student that will be there. And the days every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's the schedule. And daily practice in the evening, that for 4 o'clock pre-practice, you can join in there and you can gain your fluency by practice. So these both opportunities are there by participate into this class. And course fee 7,000. I believe you already have checked on some classes. I believe that. If not, just check on some other classes to find out the course fees of the classes. I'm not mentioning any class. It's not really good to happen because I'm respecting all of the other classes. They are also teaching something better for you. So when it is coming to course fee, I think this is quite lower by considering IELTS classes of the Sri Lanka, right? 12,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 even I have seen some classes. But here I think this is reasonable for you because you are not kind of rich persons, like maybe a nurse or someone. Then you also require some more amount of money for phase 2 IELTS exam. Even they are increasing their price day by day. Now it's around 75 or something, I believe, in IDP and British Council, quite different in both. But still you are consuming ample of money. In that case, I am providing this class with this kind of amount, and I think it's consuming more than 35 hours, maybe 40 hours when considering that for 4 o'clock session also, it's more than 50 hours per month within this month. So it's quite very low amount of the course fee. The registration form will be shared after the payment has been made. So once after you've done the payment, share me the payment slip or maybe the screenshot or maybe the PDF of the payment slip. Then I will share the registration form as well as I will include you into the course, I mean the WhatsApp group. Then all other information will be shared within the WhatsApp group. And I am hoping to give you few more days for the payments. Today it's Monday, and tomorrow I will not start the class. So day after tomorrow I will also not start the class. I will start the class by 29. So you have 3 more days including 29 Thursday. Today is 26, so you can decide yourself within these 3 days and you can get registered with the course. And don't wait till the last moment because they have limitation for group is class students. I cannot provide this class for unlimited number of students because this is one speaking class. I have my capacity for conducting mock test for number of students. So once after reach the number of students, I will stop the registration. So it's up to you to get registered if you interested into join with the class. And right now also 2 students have already been registered. So still registration is open. Okay. Now it's your time. Question and answers. And if you are a person who contacted me through the Facebook page, you may not have my WhatsApp number. This is the WhatsApp number. You can save it and share me payment slip through the WhatsApp. And you, if you require to be registered, I will share the payment details. Just let me know, maybe through Facebook, maybe through WhatsApp. It doesn't matter. Just send me one message. I will share you the payment details. Okay, now question and answers. You can ask any question about speaking test or maybe the course or maybe about myself or maybe about anything. කාට හරි questions තියනවාද?
So ලොකු දැනුමක් තියෙන්න ඕනේද මේ ජොයින් වෙන්න? හරි.
නෑ නෑ ගඟ. එහෙම කිසිම requirement එකක් නැහැ. මම කියපු ටික ඔයාලට තේරුණාද? ඒ ටික තේරුම් ගන්න තමයි ඒ
I
ටික
can understand, sir. I already done my IELTS general and scored 5.5.
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine ගඟ. මෙතන ඉන්නවා මගේ basic class එකේ ඉන්න ළමයි දෙතුන් දෙනෙකුත් එයාලත් දන්නවා 5 basic class
Yes.
එකට මම ගත්තේ 5.5 වලට වඩා අඩුවෙන් ගත්තු අය. හැබැයි 5.5 කියන්නේ ඔයාට කියන එක තේරුම් ගන්නත් පුළුවන්, ඔයාට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කතා කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. මේ මාසය ඇතුළත ඔයාට fluency එක build කරගන්න පුළුවන්. කිසි issue එකක් නැහැ. There is no issue. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? You're welcome. Anyone else? Any other questions? හරි. එහෙනම් මම හිතන්නේ ප්‍රශ්න මොනවත් නැහැ. එතකොට decision එක ඔයාලගේ තියෙන්නේ. මම ක්ලාස් එක ගැන දැනගන්න ඕන දේවල් කියලා දුන්නා සහ IELTS exam එකේ speaking component එක ගැන basics ඔයාලා දැනගන්න ඕන දේවල් කියලා දුන්නා. මේ base එකත් එක්ක ඔයාලට idea එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා self study කරන්න උනත් සමහර විට දැන් idea එකක් එන්නේ නැති කොහොමද කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා කොතනින්ද පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා ඒ විදිහට exam එකට face කරන්න ready වෙන්න join වෙන්න ඕනේ අය මට message එකක් දාන්න Facebook page එකෙන් හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ number එකෙන් හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට phone number එකට calls ගන්නවට වඩා WhatsApp එකට ගන්න එක lazy. WhatsApp එක හැම වෙලේම available අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම. ඒ නිසා WhatsApp call එකක් ගත්තොත් හොඳයි. WhatsApp message එකක් දැම්මොත් අනිවාර්යයෙන් receive වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා WhatsApp through ම call එකක් message එකක් දාන්න මම prefer කරන්නේ ඒක. මොකද එතකොට මට ඔයාලගේ නමත් එක්ක හොයාගන්නත් lazy. ආයේ call එකක් දැම්මහම මට හොයාගන්න බෑ කවුද මේ කතා කරේ මොකක්ද number එක කියලා. ඒ නිසා WhatsApp එකෙන් කතා කරොත් හරි lazy ඒක මට. ඒ නිසා එහෙම කරන්න. එහෙනම් අපි ඊළඟ බ්‍රහස්පතින්දා ක්ලාස් එකේදී හම්බෙමු. එතකල් හැමෝටම have a good night, have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.